Hey, we back. I'm here on Karuta and we are talking about Koibitos. More specifically, we're talking about Koibito Services. Now, this is something that if you are the Koibito, you can do, and the whole point of Koibito Services is that you can sell them to other players that may also want you to do these things. So we're going to go over what Koibito Services are, why they cost what they cost, what is worth doing with them, and maybe what you can be doing if you are the Koibito yourself. So we're going to start off with trims. I have Anna here, who I am the Koibito of, and I'm going to demonstrate some trims so you can kind of see what these are. These are a cosmetic. They're a cosmetic that you can do as well as, dyes and frames and all the rest of it, and it's here in the dress up action. It only costs 2 affection points, so it's really cheap. As long as you can get the Koibito in the first place, you're pretty much guaranteed to get a nice trim. I'm going to demonstrate a few here. There we go. It's the same kind of deal as morphs. You can either re-roll or accept it, but you can see there you go. It goes, I've got this kind of black trim at the moment, and then I could instead have this trim, or I could instead have, it's going to take a while to load, I could have this trim, or something like that. There's plenty of trims. Should we do one more? One more, there we go. That trim. I'm not going to take any because I just want to keep this one. But yeah, there you go. That's trims. They're pretty nice. Sometimes it's kind of hard to see them. The ones that I got there, luckily, were pretty obvious, so that helps out the video, I guess. But yeah, sometimes they are pretty hard to spot. Depends on the card, obviously, and the frame, and whatever else, color schemes and such. But trims are pretty nice. In general, if you want a trim, it's going to cost you about 1 ticket to get about 5 rolls, which of course costs the Koibito about 10 affection points, so it's not too major. But yeah, you can quite easily get trims if you want. I would recommend attempting to get a trim if you've got a card that you really want to look nice. I've got here a frame and a die and a morph on my Anna, so I can add a trim on just to finish the collection. Personally, I wouldn't have gone and got this from the Koibito if it wasn't me, because spending a ticket I don't think is really worth it, because I don't really care that Anna looks nice or not. But if you do care that your card looks nice, you might as well get a trim. It's just something a little extra, a little special. Of course, just like all of these other things, though, if you don't want to pay that 1 ticket, or maybe you don't want to pay a lot of tickets if it takes a while to get a nice trim, you can always just become the Koibito yourself and get it yourself, which normally isn't too hard to do. Depends how competitive the leaderboard is, of course, and how long you can keep it for. But of course, if you're just going to try and go for a trim yourself, you don't really need to keep Koibito for that long, so you shouldn't really have too much of a problem. The next action is massage here. Prevents the next work injury. This cost me 10 affection points, so that's a bit of a big one. I can spend that, and there we go. My aches and pains are completely gone. And that means that if you are using this person as a worker, which actually I am, they just won't get injured. Of course, you can only carry on using this while you stay the Koibito, so you either want to stay the Koibito for a long time, or you're gonna just have to cope with getting the work injuries. Or we've got cheer up, which will come next. But yeah, massage is pretty nice. Every time you get a Koibito, assuming that you are using the character for work, I would use the massage once just to stop work injury. It's a lot more effective than using cheer up or waiting, so it's good to use anytime you can. And normally this is going to cost you about 2 tickets, which makes reasonable sense, giving cheer up, which is what we're talking about next. Cheer up will reduce any work injury by 5 days. So this is often what you might be going to a Koibito for. Now, a work injury can be any amount. 30 days is maximum, but I think it can be any amount between them. And so cheer up often costs you 1 ticket. You can see massage costing 2, therefore, is going to remove, on average, a 15-day injury, whereas cheer up removes 1 day. So that means that cheer up is about 1/3 as good as massage. So you can understand it being well, about half the price, because the downside of cheer up is that you have to do it after the work injury, whereas massage has the advantage of preempting it. So yeah, I think the prices balance out pretty reasonably there. Often what you might be doing is if you're using your character for work and they do get an injury, then you might go off to find the Koibito specifically so you can cheer up a bunch, so you can get them back for work. And then I guess while you're there, you might as well buy a massage from them as well. Spend, I don't know, 4 or 5 tickets, and then you've prevented 2 work injuries pretty much. You can carry on using your character for work, which is presumably going to get you quite a lot of bits, which is pretty nice. This one costs 10 affection points, the same as massage, so it's a fair bit more expensive for the Koibito than it is to use massage. It does gain the Koibito a little bit of affection rating, but it's not a huge amount. This is partly just because my affection rating on Anna is pretty high, but yeah, it doesn't gain you too much affection rating. But yeah, so it's a fair bit more expensive. As the Koibito yourself, you're going to be wanting to massage rather than cheering up. It's a lot more worth for you. But yeah, if you're selling the actions, then you can do either. Next, we have toughness, which is the ignore. Toughness modifier. If you know about working, toughness is that. Increasing toughness modifier is going to get you more effort on your character. So again, if you're using the character for work, increasing toughness is what you want to go for. Only 1 grade is not much, and 80 affection points is a lot. So this is certainly worth doing. But you're going to need to save up for it. The thing is, it's a permanent buff, basically. So if you are wanting to get the most possible bits from your worker, you are going to want to max out toughness, and that's going to cost you a fair bit. Therefore, in order to buy this from a Koibito, it's going to cost you a fair few tickets. I would say around 5 tickets per grade. So if you're trying to max it out from F all the way up to S, that's going to cost you something like 25 tickets, which is a pretty hefty price. But of course, this is a permanent buff on your worker, so it's certainly worth doing. And if you can get a Koibito on a really popular character that a lot of people are using for work, you may well have people coming up to you and buying your toughness modifiers, which will get you some pretty nice profit. That's certainly worth doing. Of course, this also depends on how good they are as a worker. So for example, if I was to sell toughnesses on Anna, I'd probably put them quite low, because Anna's not as good a worker as some of the other high wishlist characters. I mean, my Anna personally is quite good because I got her as a mint drop and I've given her some nice frame and dye and stuff. But in general, if you get yourself an Anna, she's not got that many wish lists, so she's probably not as good a worker as otherwise. So I'd probably put that on the lower end of the scale, maybe 4 tickets per toughness grade or something like that. Whereas if you're going for some really popular character that's going to have really good work effort, then you maybe want to go up to like 7 tickets or something like that. Yeah, it depends on the character at the end of the day, so that's up to you. But of course, if the price gets put too high, then people are going to instead try and get Koibito themselves and take it off you rather than paying you. So yeah, there is that. Finally, we have aliases. Now, I can't demonstrate this on Anna or in fact any of my my Koibitos. I've got quite a few, and believe it or not, none of them have any aliases, so I'm kind of sad about that one. But an alias is basically just changing the name if the character has a particular nickname. So I could make this version of the card with this code have a name other than Anna, for instance. These aliases have to be added into the bot. You can't make them yourself, and neither can the Koibito. But if the character does have an alias, then the Koibito can change the name of your card to one of those aliases. This normally costs about 5 tickets because, again, this is permanent. And while it's not a buff, it's not going to increase your worker value or anything. It does increase the value of the card, just because people often want the aliases. So that's pretty nice. And if you want your card to be named something else, then you can do that. Again, it's a bit of a flex, which is pretty nice. This is, again, just going to be in your actions menu here, listed among everything else. Like I said, it's not there for me, so I can't show you guys, but it will just be there. Also worth noting that there is no command to check what aliases a character have. If you do KLU on the character, it'll tell you. So, for example, I can do KLU on Anna, and you see it says here, no aliases, or rather, it doesn't, because there are no aliases. But if the character does have an alias, it'll appear here under the wish lists alias, and it'll tell you how many aliases they have, but you can't check what aliases those are unless you go to the Koibito and ask them. They can check on their visits. When you attempt to give an alias on the action menu, it'll tell you which aliases are available there. So if you go and find the Koibito, you can ask them what aliases are available, and you can grab one of those if you like. But yeah, I think that's just about everything for Koibito actions. They are pretty cool. Like I said, if the Koibito that currently has the character you're looking at is putting their prices maybe a little bit too high, then I would advise just going and getting the Koibito themselves. Personally, despite having a lot of Koibitos, because they're all very low ranked, I don't really sell too many Koibito services, but I mean, you know, hit me up. But yeah, Koibito services are pretty good. If you can get yourself a really high-ranked Koibito, you can make a pretty reasonable profit off selling the services. So I would definitely recommend trying to do that. But at the end of the day, because it's a popular character, you're probably not going to keep it for too long, which is unfortunate, I suppose. But yeah, that's what you can do with Koibito. Like I say, I would recommend going for it if you can. Of course, going for dates and visits and stuff is a reasonable amount of effort. Pun unintended, and a reasonable amount of time spent, so it'll take you a while, you know. Some people don't bother, and I can perfectly understand that. Personally, I quite like going for Koibitos, so I plan on continuing, and I have made a video on getting Koibitos in the past, so if you're interested in that, check that one out. But yeah, that's what you can do with them, so there you go. I'm going to end this video here though. Bye!